I just finished picking up hay, mowed it and picked it up out of the field. It's just getting drier and thinner, fewer green leaves. And I asked a farmer, he said it's still good hay. I didn't really show it to him, but they will eat it. And a lot of the cows are eating the grass, which, you know, I don't know. Well, I'll show if it's nice grass like this, it's all right. But I think over there, it's already been picked through pretty well. So I gave those goats some hay that I cut. But this goat here, it'd rather get out. And of course, this grass is greener. But the thing of it is, I don't know how it's getting out. And it's been 3 days now. I'm going to go inside. I should have had this electric fence set up, but it's not done. And I really don't want the babies out here anyway in the day or nighttime. I would have to bring them back in and lock them in. Uh-oh, got caught by the wire. And but anyway, what I was going to say is, I first thought it was getting out because this wasn't attached. And so I tied it here. But then it still got out, so I thought it must be crawling under. So I put these stakes here. And, you know, can it crawl under like that? And especially not leave. Look at these babies. But I'm going to go inside and see if I can figure out how they're getting out. Another thing is that goat that's getting out is the oppressed goat. And the other goat that's staying in is the dominant goat. So it's like that oppressed goat has learned how to be sneaky or something. So there's a little disturbance here. They might have went under here. They can get under. I made a hole one time. We were going to make a hole that only the little goats could go through. And our big goat just jammed itself through that hole in the barn here. So it's got to be that, I guess, because the other thing I'm thinking, if it got out anywhere else, it wouldn't go back in that field, but it gets out here. If it gets out here under there, it goes straight into that field. One thing about farm animals too is different from wild animals. They're not gonna go far from the barn. The barn's where a lot of times they'll go right back into the barn. So this is where their little house is, their little stall. Now this here is, see, the little goats could, they can't get out here. It's gotta be, they must be crawling under that. I need to turn that gate upside down. I put it in when I did the boys' fence over there. I turned that gate upside down. You can kind of see it. But I did this one earlier, and I turned the gate. That's the right way for that gate, but it leaves a big hole in the bottom. It's a cattle gate. And of course, why this one? Why that one will crawl under consistently, and this one doesn't do it? That's another question. But it's got to be right here. It's the only place it can get out. It's crawling under right there, right where my shadow is between those two poles. What I need to do is get that electric fence going, and then just open this gate, let them all go out there and eat the green pasture. But this guy here, this boy goat over here, he doesn't eat his pasture. But these ones do. For some reason, I don't know what the difference is. Look at those eyes there. They got this horizontal there, yeah, horizontal. So I got the fence done. All the goats was out here eating. I guess they ate their fill and went home. Here's a couple just sitting right there. Inside the laying in the sun. Which one is that? There's old Big Boy. How you doing, Big Boy? He's a good boy. He's looking for food. Well, anyway, I was going to show you how I did this electric fence. I've been doing it different. When I first did it, I had ground hot. And then I made them all hot, but I had one ground wire on the ground. And the problem was, you need to weed whack this, and I need to weed whack it right now because you don't want to have any grass touching the wire. Well, when I would weed whack it, I would try not to hit that ground wire, be laying on the ground, but sometimes I'd get it and then it's amazing how fast it would whip up. So now I've got the ground wire here. It's hot, ground hot. And so the ground wire isn't touching the ground, but each post is. And I've got it, I didn't use a zip tie. When I attached it to the post, I used a wire. So each one of these posts is a ground, and I should be able to weed whack it without picking up. Well, there's no way I can pick up the wire when I'm weed whacking this. I can get under it. So, unless I'm just going crazy. This is the goat that was getting out, so this is the submissive goat or abused goat or oppressed goat, and so the dominant goat is in the house, won't let it's right there, it won't let this goat go in. But and it was, so anyway, that's this. It's kind of too bad they act that way, but that's the way they are. And if the boy's in there, he don't. One thing about these two girls, I can have two hands and I can feed each one of them by hand. The boy, he doesn't want anybody to get any other food. If I'm feeding him with one hand and another goat with another hand, he'll butt that other goat away. And before he even finishes his own. But anyway, so that's that, I guess. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to do. Just looking to see if I have a treat. I think I got a treat out here. What I wanted to say is it's almost impossible, or it's not impossible, but it's difficult to reuse this wire because it has a tendency to tangle up. Now I thought I had a good example, but now I don't see one. Rats. There they are doing what goats do. But, and you know, the nice thing about this is relatively easy to set these. It's pretty easy to set these and even to pull them up. And it's not real hard to do these. I've got a puller that leverages and it'll pull it. But this wire is real hard to deal with as far as moving it. So if after they eat this, in theory, I could move it over here. But the wire is just too hard to work with. But they do have a fabric that is expensive, but I might have to try something like that because I don't see any way you could take this wire down and have it not tangle up. In my experience. Well, I mean, this wire is the wire, and I moved it. See, it was here, and I moved it over here. So I did move it, but it was tangled. It was a battle all the way to untangle it. It was just a battle, and it's been. I'm about a month late finishing it. This one was escaping. That's why, primarily, what inspired me to finish it. There was one other thing I was thinking of. I had trouble with these heaters not being reliable. They're a few years old, probably about 3 years old, and I don't know. Maybe they don't last forever. It seemed like sometimes they'd work and sometimes they wouldn't. But I need to change that water anyway, I think. And I had to shut off my automatic because of the freezing. I need to give them some water right now. So I like to talk about bargains, and of course, when you get something at a low price, a lot of times it's not the best. It's usually not the best. So I don't know what it is. These tires are just not very good, and they wear out remarkably fast. But you get the whole tire with the rim, a new rim, and it's got air in it. I didn't have to put air in it, for $25, and you know, they ship it here over to there. So it's pretty convenient and not terribly expensive. Probably if I paid $25 for the tire, got a better tire like a Carlisle, and mounted it myself, it would be better. This seems like it's got a lot of tread, but it just seems like it wears out so fast. But anyway, and then it's easy to put it on too. There's just a little clip that you pull off with a screwdriver, and then a washer, and then grease it before you put it on. So these rear tires seem to last longer for some reason. I don't know why those front tires would wear out so fast. Except you're turning, I don't know. They're all out having supper now. 2 mamas and 4 babies. That's good. Incidentally, it's December in Kentucky. Oh, one other thing I was going to tell you. I've thought about running I'll talk a little more, but I've thought that's kind of a shady area in there. And I've thought about running the fence through there, but I'm not sure because it's nice for people too. And they don't seem to stay out really. They want to be in the house mostly. But anyway, one thing I wanted to say was, I guess I got this on upside down, but it doesn't matter, I don't guess. But anyway, what I wanted to say was, I'm using this little shocker that I got off of Amazon. And it doesn't give a very big shock. I've got one of them 1 mile cattle things, but it doesn't take much really once they feel it. See, it's just a little tickle right there. Because I'm not quite touching it. It's a little, I can feel it. But it's not like that cattle thing is, really painful. It's not necessary. So regarding permanent fence, you might call it, real fence, I started out with this. I actually I was going to fence in the dogs, and I bought enough to fence in the dogs, and then we got an invisible fence. And I've been using it for the goats. And then another thing was, she got these little goats, so I bought another section just to do that. That was $200, I believe, just to do that, if I remember correctly. Seems like a lot. But it might have been one of them high periods, you know, of time. But this fence isn't any good for goats. They just tear it up. They can put their horns in there and pull on it, and they just tear it to shreds. This fence is better. And this fence here was $100, which if you look at, in fact, I think it was $130. Which if you look at how much enclosure I've got, you can see fence is not cheap. But this is good fence. Now, it's got to be small so they can't put their heads through it, which makes it cost a little more. The other thing is, these little goats, they can stand on this and it doesn't ruin it. But for him, I couldn't have it like this. You know, he would tear this right up. You had to stretch it, which you probably already knew that. But this fence, so I bought this fence. I wanted to make it a permanent. This fence was $300, and it's 330 feet. They've got, the way they pack it is amazing because they stagger it. See, they don't have all the, because otherwise it would be much, much bigger. The problem is it's very, very heavy. So I was making a suspension thing to hang it from my tractor scoop, so it could hang there and then I could just pull it off. But I didn't get that done. And but the deal is, as far as this permanent fence is concerned, when I've got babies, it will keep the predators out. And really, one of your big problems with the smaller farm animals is predators. That electric fence won't keep the predators out. So what I'm planning on doing is put them indoors, or at least in that pen at night, which they'll go in anyway, probably on their own. But eventually I get this permanent fence up, the predators can't go through it, and they'll be safe. It amazes me how they like to eat that old dried up stuff. These goats are their coats are so nice. It's so soft and so clean. They're all white, and they stay clean. Look at how they love it.